So before the 7th generation of consoles, Naughty Dog were known for games such as Jak and Daxter, and of course the one and only Crash Bandicoot. And with the PS3 set to release in late 2006, Naughty Dog decided to work on yet another brand new franchise. But instead of a platformer, they decided to make this game a third-person shooter, and make a pretty bold move by making this game target a more mature audience. This game would then be released in 2007, a year after the PS3's release, and would become one of the most successful and best-selling games for the system. That game I am of course talking about is Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So the plot begins with our two main characters of the series, Nathan Drake and Elena Fisher, digging up what is supposedly the coffin of Nate's ancestor, Sir Francis Drake. But Nate then opens up the coffin to reveal that it's empty and all that's in there is Francis Drake's journal. Their victory is cut short, however, when they're attacked by a gang of pirates working for Eddie Raja. Nate and Elena manage to escape thanks to the help of Nate's mentor, who is also my favourite character in the series, Victor Sullivan. Later on, Nate informs Sully that the journal reveals that Sir Francis Drake was looking for El Dorado, which they guess is a lost city of gold. So the duo set off to find El Dorado, and they ditch Elena on the boardwalk. As the two search through the caves of the Amazon rainforest, they find out that El Dorado was actually a giant golden statue. As the two follow the trail, they unexpectedly find a German U-boat in the middle of the jungle. As Nate infiltrates the submarine, he finds a page that was ripped out of Francis Drake's journal, and it reveals the location of El Dorado. Nate and Sully's victory gets cut short, however, when they're captured by rival treasure hunters Gabriel Roman and Atuk Navarro, who are also on the hunt for El Dorado. Roman then takes the map and then shoots Sully, presumably killing him. Nate just barely manages to escape, and then he unexpectedly rejoins with Elena, and the two finally decide to work together to find El Dorado. The two then become separated when their plane gets shot down, and as Nate is searching for Elena, he gets captured by Eddie Raja, who was also hired by Gabriel Roman to help find El Dorado. Elena then frees Nate, and the two manage to escape from Eddie and his goons. Nate and Elena then find Sully, who as it turns out is still alive thanks to Drake's journal, which conveniently stopped the bullet from killing him when he was shot. As Nate and Elena are searching through the caves for El Dorado, they bump into Eddie, who is being attacked by these zombie thingies. Okay, this just got weird. Nate and Elena just barely managed to escape, but Eddie Raja? Not so much. Nate then discovers that El Dorado bears a terrible curse. It turns anyone who goes near it into whatever those zombie thingies are. Elena then gets kidnapped by Roman, so Nate rejoins with Sully, and the two chase Roman down to the caves where El Dorado is being kept. Navarro then tricks Roman into opening the statue, turning him into a mindless zombie, and then Navarro kills him. So as it turns out, Navarro's plan all along was to find El Dorado and then sell it as a bioweapon. So Nate grabs onto the statue as it's being lifted out of the caves via a helicopter. Elena then causes the chopper to crash, and after one final showdown with Navarro, Nate sends him to the bottom of the ocean along with El Dorado.
Adios, asshole.
Nate and Elena then rejoin with Sully, who reveals that he managed to retrieve some treasure from Eddie Raja's men. The trio then sail off into the sunset. And that was Uncharted's plot, and it's a rather simple story and not too complex, which I guess is a good thing. I mean, after doing 2 Arkham plot summaries that took me 10 minutes to get through, I'm really glad I got to do a plot summary that only took me about 3 minutes to get through. But what I like most about the story is that while it does have kind of a serious tone, it does have its fair share of funny moments.
Nate, be careful.
Come on. I always am. Ah! I did not see that!
Amy Hennig was both the writer and the director of this game, and she did a great job. And she would continue to work on the series until Uncharted 3. The voice cast is great too. Nolan North is such a perfect voice for Nathan Drake. While he's done a great job at voicing other characters, Nathan Drake has to be his best performance in my opinion.
You devil.
Emily Rose also sounds great as Elena Fisher. Robin Atkin sounds pretty good as Navarro, and while Navarro only appears in this game, Robin Atkin will continue to voice other characters throughout the Uncharted series. And finally, Richard McGonigal absolutely knocks it out of the park as Victor Sullivan.
I can't leave you alone for a minute, can I?
Alrighty, let's finally talk about that gameplay. Uncharted for the most part is a third-person shooter, but there is also plenty of puzzle solving and platforming sections. Let's go over the shooting scenarios first. Uncharted is basically your typical third-person shooter. You hide behind cover and you shoot every enemy standing in your path. The weapon selection is basically what you'd expect to find in a third-person shooter, such as pistols, AK-47s, shotguns, snipers, rocket launchers, and grenades. So yeah, I quite enjoyed the shooting sections even though I'm not the biggest fan of third-person shooters. But thankfully, shooting isn't all there is to Uncharted. There are also platforming sections where you will have to climb or chimney across walls. And there are puzzle solving sections where, you guessed it, you solve puzzles. These are pretty cool, but admittedly, after playing the game multiple times, I kinda know how to solve all these puzzles pretty quickly. Oh well, they're still pretty cool though. This game also has a really good soundtrack, which was composed by Greg Edmondson. The main theme of the game is so good, it's one of the most iconic themes in all of gaming. As for the rest of the soundtrack, it's pretty good too, and Greg Edmondson will continue to be the sound director until Uncharted 3. And that was the original Uncharted. And I guess there's not really much for me to say about this game other than that it's a really good game and it still holds up over a decade after its release. Overall, this was a really good start to the series, but like many other video game franchises, the sequels will improve greatly upon this game. But despite that, I still recommend this game for any PlayStation owner to try out at least once. And that was my review of the original Uncharted. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later.